these things. It's not that we're in this desperate mode of needing it. We require it. And that takes some of the pressure off of us. Because it's something that is established and knowing, and it's what, hey, it's what will allow you to be that true spiritual being that you were created to be. So what it does, it takes the impress of our thoughts, our beliefs, our knowing, and brings it into form. It takes the impress. That wall then works upon that which came forward through the belief. And that law carries all of the nature of the thing you say you require. To feed it. To just keep feeding it. So that it stays in place. So that it stays with you. Once you feel it, you know it's yours. That law is prepared to feed it till eternity. Now that which can change is that you change your belief in it. Again, that's where you come in. It will feed it until you put in another belief. A neutralizing belief. The law can't make judgment, so it'll accept a new belief and do the same thing. Support that new belief. Support it. As long as you believe in it. But as we expand in our consciousness, yes, you're allowed to change your beliefs. That's spiritual maturity. Do you think NASA would ever have been built if they stopped with the Wright brothers? No. Beliefs change. But be conscious of that which you first of all started the premise on. Because like attracts like attracts like attracts like. It was surely much easier for NASA to develop. Because it was like aerodynamics. Yes, aerodynamics. But at an expanded level. So those thoughts that are similar, it's easy for that attachment from a belief to a belief to a belief, which is continually expanding. Which means your consciousness is continually expanding. As we said, Jesus the Christ said, and better things can you do than me. Because I'm here now with the Hebrews. And I'm seeing things worldly, but you're going to be even more worldly than me. And so that which you require will be greater than what I am now requiring. Because your expanded consciousness will continue from this to the next to the next. What it does is take this impress, carries the nature of the thing that you're requiring, and by the activity of this law, brings it into form. Now, of course, we're not just talking about the material things, are we? We're talking about concepts that you need, require. We're talking about all of those other areas in our lives that we require. Not just the material. More love, more peace, more joy. Things that we require. So last year, we started talking about a new normal here in the centerpiece. And we said that we're going to, for not only change our terms of needing to require, but for this 2012, we're starting into a new era. We'll be 11 years old next month. And so we want to see some kind of, we want to see more of an expansion of consciousness. want to be required to establish. See, it's difficult, isn't it? I so easily say need. We need. We require. We require to have a new normal. We require our mental equivalent, that which is in consciousness, because it happens in consciousness first before we see it. That which you're holding in consciousness, you're seeing what's in consciousness now. So we said that we require a new normal here. And that new normal has the sound of that the centerpiece is able to meet all of its financial obligations. Its centerpiece is able to attract all of the resources it needs and requires. The centerpiece requires various things to be a thriving spiritual center. And so we put that in the mix. The new normal. In that we're allowing our minds to adjust, adapt, and accept this new normal. And so there are projects that are going to be coming forward this year that will say that, yes, we give and we receive. We give to a larger community, we receive back, and it keeps on going because that's the law of circulation. The new normals that we're reading and identifying the law of circulation. We're reading and knowing the law of attraction. So we started that little seed planted there. And as things continue to progress, we were still identifying areas that were, the requirements weren't being met. Oh, you've been in here when it seemed as though there wasn't heat. You've been in my office, those of you who are students who sat in that office freezing. And the heat is a requirement for us to be able to fluidly go forward and let our minds expand and absorb all that we need to absorb while we're sitting there as sedentary individuals. We require this, and no matter how much we were requiring, we were not getting the results we wanted. And when we ended up at the end of the year, which you'll be hearing about in the next couple of weeks, we didn't hit benchmarks that we said were required for the financial flourishing of the centerpiece. And this has been weighing very heavily upon your practitioners and your council members as the leaders of this magnificent spiritual community. So last week, I decided to bring it in and bring all of these requirements and concerns and conditions to the practitioner class. Not Prac 2 class, but Prac 1 students. Students had an assignment, and this assignment dealt with group prayer. You heard Norma's reading this morning about the consciousness of the group. So what I decided to do was to lay out to the students that which the centerpiece was going through. To lay out to them the requirements of the centerpiece. To give them the story of the way the end of the year, the way we finished the end of the year financially. And I had them design, first of all, on purpose, because I said, we're going to do treatment, we're going to do prayer. And if you know anything about treatment, anything about prayer, then you do know each prayer begins with a purpose. Why are you given the prayer? Now, it is through the prayer, of course, that what it does shows up. It's through the prayer. We've got a ministry of prayer. We believe in prayer. And we know that that's part of the activity, the prayer work we do. So this assignment for the students was that they were to sit there, and I must tell you, this is, we now call it advanced studies, but this advanced study